I really like what's happening here. Because actually I'm really fulfilled, really fed with a lot of inputs and thoughts, brain food out of these all conversations happening, out of the panel discussions, and the last panel was very interesting. Because what I want to talk about actually is just to actually continue. At the moment I stopped during the opening keynote, elaborating a little bit about this safety topic, because I'm really keen to be a safe choice vendor which can really produce and deliver safety to our clients and to clients of our clients, to end users. And this is kind of alpha and omega of what I'm waking up and going to sleep thinking of. And actually these slides were produced during this session. So I just finished a couple hours ago my last ideas on this and put some things on the table, because actually what I wanted is to kind of map of what was said, what I heard here, what I got as like sensitive topics for you, what actually what is needed, yeah, what is missing to what we probably have. Something we have, something we can shift, something we can rotate a little bit, and it will deliver what is missing. It will be a little bit of kind of this sales flavor. Why? I'm not gonna go deep into our products. I'll only mention a few things, and I would like, and some of the things there will be even more things which are not exist yet. Something we're thinking of, something we are designing, we are elaborating, researching. And there will be more things like that on these slides than existing things going by. But what I invite you to help me, like, if something resonates with you here, regardless of you're going to buy or not, just contact me after, or ask my colleague on the sales desk and in the chapel, just to put yourself in a wait list. So yeah, it thinks something could be potentially interesting. I would like to know more about this later when we have, or because it would really help me to shape our product portfolio, to shape the future of Talsec and maybe overall community. It's just maybe we will not do it, but we can guide you who is doing it or how you can solve it yourself. So this is kind of idea I would like to propose. And yeah, so just keep in mind, if resonates something, put yourself in a wait list. Contact me or Mark Elix on the sales desk in the next room. And we start with this, or continue with this keyword safety. And the first thing, when I was meditating about safety and talking about safety, and it was said several times, this kind of, it was a message we were discussing about, like surrogate or like warfare, or not surrogate, how to say it, combined informational and physical, whatever. All of the things, when you think about safety, one of the first thing, even from anthropologically, of we are as human beings, we feel safer together against common enemy. This is one of the first and intuitive direction or remedy or approach we take when we feel unsafe and insecure. We try to find like-minded, stick together against common enemy. And this is what I kind of group this kind of considerations into one notion of collective defense. And when I was talking about this topic of collective defense before several times, I was using kind of NATO as an example of like what first comes to your mind. These days, unfortunately, this it's really metaphor. It's not really well-working thing, unfortunately, these days. So these days I rather address collective defense topic with metaphor of forest, and how forest actually manage to defend group of trees by communicating and using mushrooms, a network, how trees can pass the message about like some insects or another threat or some illness, diseases which attack forest on one part of it, and trees on another part of it can generate chemicals which are needed to protect themselves. And this is it's not a, let's say, esoteric metaphor, it's a science-backed statement. So idea of collective defense is that when one exploit, one is attacked, it helps stronger others. And generally the presentation will be structured that way, that I will talk about some concept and then I will kind of name a couple of things which are either we have today or we applied somehow in the Talsec, or we are just elaborating or preparing something. So and this middle size is just when you have these gears rolling, it means we are already doing something in this direction. And the last part is something we are kind of researching, more like researching and planning. In sense of collective defense, the first obvious thing, we are a community-driven organization. What we do, or like it was beginning of Talsec, we start with sharing, we put something we have on a global access, and this is how we also collect feedbacks, and if we find some vulnerability on one of our user reports, some vulnerability of our system, we can improve it. Other aspect of this, it is data that community version generates when the users are using like FreeRASP. For example, the data we have from FreeRASP we use in order to improve the product generally, yeah, and to find false positives, to find some conflicts with other tools, conflicts with operating systems, updates of, I don't know, Samsung device, for example, can produce some problems, and like some edge cases, etc. And important aspect of this also, of the collective defense, is again, also was said during the previous panel, responsibility aspect. Can the even if it is collective defense, it cannot be collective responsibility, in fact. There should be like a structure, there should be some mechanism where it is clear who is doing what, in which case what should happen, where are boundaries, who is responsible for data, if we talk about especially data. Yeah? Now, it's especially important to be conscious about the level of responsibility behind it, because data is something which is, it's kind of weapon of modern times, in fact. Second aspect of, it was actually name of the presentation, right, about predictability, but it is also second aspect of safety. I take prediction as a concept, a predictability or prediction as also one of the preconditions of safety. Or yeah, like we have on this picture, we really feel safer when the one we trust or trustee who is kind of driving us have this predictability, predicts well, predicts precise. If it is bank, we need to feel that these banks do predictions. If it is not blind, because practically, if it again use a little bit philosophical thought experiment, or kind of think about it that way, that we are, as humans, we are moving into timeline, looking, our eyes see only past, we don't see future, we turned to the timeline, against the timeline, we see only what happened, we remember what happened, and we don't see future. So we go into the timeline like this, and only my ability to predict what will happen, where is the end of this panel, helps me to move that way. And we, all of the human beings, we move this way in our life. We are blind. Only our ability of our brain to predict helps us to survive. And what is actually predictability for me? Ability to, let's say, when we turn to the products, when we turn to the business and talk about business and Talsec products, what we want to deliver is actually ability for businesses to do something that their brain do it for themselves, for the humans, to allow this kind of features. When you run your use case, there should be something that predicts a little bit what can happen wrong, what can be wrong, where are anomalies, what are the risk scores. And this is actually something we have today. We already implemented it. This is a technology of AppyCrypt. Also, we have a team of Talsec guys who can demonstrate you how it works, what it does. If somebody interested to elaborate about this kind of technology, you have this chance to use this time to talk to guys. The new stuff we are entering is a kind of device state API. So it's like kind of, if AppyCrypt is something that is kind of based on SDK, produced kind of data produced on the client device and verified on the server, this is more like API which is available for your backend or front end, whatever, that you can at voluntary time. So this is kind of triggered by user use case, right? And this you can trigger from business use case, regardless of user using your app or not. So you can just get the information from the state database of states. And all the things of that is like apply more like UI driven and contextful mechanism to this risk scoring at that level and this level is when you can also not only take into consideration risks detected on device from the kind of RASP point of view, from runtime self-protection point of view of kind of integrity of the device, integrity of the app, but also take into consideration more like contextual information about what is this transaction about. What is the amount of transaction, who is recipient, what is the location, what was the last location of this kind of transaction, why this kind of transaction happens from another location. So these kind of things. This is where we move. Yeah, this is kind of old slide. If there are some clients we talked already, you've probably seen it a lot already. This is concept of AppyCrypt. This is an app. This is a backend. This is our SDK. SDK knows the state of the device because it's like his purpose. It's scan device, check problems. And you can generate cryptogram here, kind of cryptographical snapshot of the security, of the security state of the device. You transfer it to your backend, and you verify this cryptogram on the backend and have in real time within the transaction the information about what was found on the device, what problems, debug, simulator, whatever. What is overall verdict, kind of good or bad, what is the risk score. And this is a kind of classical AppyCrypt concept. And this is something we're more probably moving to as a second part, where we have, this is RASP, he's doing something. This is kind of AppyCrypt flow typical, yeah? So it's going to be like a typical like AppyCrypt flow. But now, what we can do is that you don't need to do anything on your backend. We can deliver this part for you, and you have your cloud instance of something. For example, it can be in Azure, it can be in Cloudflare. There is something that doesn't introduce to verify the integrity of the device without any influence on your existing business logic and your existing backend. So it just verifies additional layer. And same way we can put some API which will be available for your business logic, or it can be, by the way, taken as also from app itself, from front end as well. It's just API which is available and give you, at any time it can give you the last information about risks of the device and even more. And this even more is related to this third topic. Because again, going back to this safety, yeah, we remember that, okay, first thing which helps us feel safer is collective. collective defense. It means that CTO can feel safer using the community-driven SDK because it is community-driven, because there is community behind it, because there is many advantages, no vendor lock-in, etc., etc., etc. This was about like collective defense, right? The first aspect of safety. Users feel safer when, let's say, generic threats happening with others can be immediately implemented by bank, and users can feel that, okay, this bank really watching this stuff and applies this collective defense approach. I mean, watching this stuff, I mean, checking the typical scams, checking the typical malwares, and using this kind of collective, applying this collective defense approach that we kind of offering today in Talsec. The second was predictability, ability to predict. And the third one is we feel safer when we are aware, when we can defend ourselves, when we can justify if this transaction looks trustworthy or not. If this contact, some guy from WhatsApp which is asking me to pay the bill or whatever, is it right guy? If somebody calling me, very quickly I identify the scam. It happens quite often to me. Quite often I got calls from the guys who are trying to convince me to do some stupid thing. And because I'm more or less aware, and how to move this awareness to our users, this is the tricky stuff. How we can help our clients to generate and improve awareness of the users, of their users. And this is what I was continuously elaborating about what we as a Talsec and how we can help our clients to develop this awareness. And the one thing we already doing is actually global statistics and benchmarking and generic information about statistic situations on the market, about how many rooted devices on the field, on which countries, how many kind of integrity problems or cloned apps in which countries, etc. And this kind of information is our gift to you. It's available. You have a leaflets. Please pick them. On our near the reception, near the doors, there are leaflets and there is a QR code where you can get the full statistics which we recently published just before this event. We prepared this global statistics information. You can use it to be informed and make better decisions. And this is kind of awareness, but like let's say on CTO and CSO level that we can offer today. And second level here, this is something which was actually demonstrated several hours back on the workshop stage. This is something that we can use AI to not just provide signals, device is rooted, or device doesn't have a screen lock, or device is in developer mode, but also explain it in the human and understandable form. So AI have a huge advantage over human in explaining. AI explained to my daughter something much better way than I do when I try to explain her some concept. Because if I use like so fine, polished, well formulated words or statements, and also can be really adaptive to the age, to the culture, to the profile of the user, etc. And that's why I say we today started to offer this service to our clients where we kind of sell the security not as just indicators, good or bad, but explaining why it is good or why it is bad, what is behind it. And when I was talking about first concept, first item here, what we already have, and about this awareness and global statistics is something. This is something that our clients can get even now. When you protect your app with a Talsec, your app start generating, let's say, threat signals to our big data lake. And due to this because this data lake is really big, we have average on the market, let's say, situation statistics. So for example, in this example, it's reverse engineering attempt using the hooking framework like FRIDA. So here you can see how many app instances globally seem to have this kind of instrumentation working. And you can have compare your statistics hooks of your app comparing to global app. And then you can see the anomaly, how good you are or bad you are comparing to average situation on the market. And this kind of end users awareness development, I would like to demonstrate to some use case. Actually, I decided not to run video, just did like slideshow. We did it some time back, let's say on some event in partnership with Microsoft and MasterCard. We built it was a kind of hackathon, and we kind of demonstrated what is possible to develop today using Talsec technology and using the AI, fancy AI APIs. And yeah, imagine just app, sensitive payment process. You click go to payment, and you end up on the screen which contains the sensitive entry fields. Yeah, so we need to enter card number. So our kind of innovation here is that don't allow users to enter card number before your device security check passed successfully. And you know the risk of this device, because practically this card number can be leaked, misused, already paid by attacker, used to pay, even before your backend gets this data. Because there are keyloggers, overlays, tremendous amount of stuff can happen before you get this data. Attackers can get them. So that's why I say disable, do this risk summary, do the check. In this case, I don't know if you can read it. You cannot. In this case, risk was detected as very high, and users still disable to pay. The only thing the guy can do, see that it's critical, not possible to pay, go to risk summary and understand what's wrong. And in this very case, in this case of this example, we found a SMS forwarder app installed on this device. It means OTP, when you do payment, you get SMS OTP, and this is SMS OTP goes to attacker before even you read it. This is okay. You cannot read it, but I can tell you this is malware. It is very risky because of this or that. Also, there is developer option enabled on the device, so you need to go to your settings, turn off developer option, uninstall this SMS forwarder, and then you can pay. Oops. I don't know how you can back. Okay. So, and this is example of what different risk summary, how this can be explained, what can be found. Just an example. In this case, its security patch was like quite outdated long ago, and AI can explain, okay, 6 months from the last security update, it's not very good because there were some CVEs, it means known vulnerabilities of this or this or that, and this is kind of risky and it can have impact, this or that impact. Developer mode, like in this case false, so it's all okay, and in this case rooted. Yeah, this is critical issue. SE Linux, it's kind of routing, kind of privilege access problem. I don't know, for security experts it's meaningful, but this is the kind of information you all can have on your backend, and you can decide either to pass it to user, to pass this information to your security officer for individual elaboration of this user, block limit transactions. You can do a lot of smart things with this data. And this is just a kind of example how it can look like from developer point of view. It's just API. You can get me risk short summary for this device ID. And this is kind of example of summary. To secure your device, turn off developer mode and do. So this is kind of example, short demonstration of what kind of direction we are moving here in Talsec and what kind of things we can offer today. Just to wrap up a little bit, these 3 safety pillars again, that after this kind of day and a half, we are kind of on catharsis of these workshops. I've already kind of took some preliminary kind of summary for me. There could be probably additional things after last couple of keynotes or tech talks that are left before the ending event. And yeah, that's what all I wanted to share and to tell you. And one more things to say, maybe it's the last one, that we also prepared a small gift for you, for all audience on this call, on this event. Is a kind of, we call it CTO cheat sheet. This is a kind of A1 poster, big thing you can put on the table of your CTO, on a table or on the doors in the office of your CTO. And this is a long list of different checks which we recommend, we believe, our line of best practices, things that we believe is important that your CTO knows or CISO knows. And so, it's a kind of self-checklist. So we can go, this I have, this I have, this I will have next year, this I never will gonna do. And yeah, and also we have, of course, some small marker like what Talsec has, because we don't cover everything. We cover some. And you can find the points where we can, or controls where we can rely on us. Yeah, that's it for me for today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sergiy.